And we're up, Mr. Reed.
We are recording. Well, I want to thank everybody that's on this webinar today. This is number 2 in the series that I'm putting together for kind of some basic 101 knowledge for school owners that I think we can use, and hopefully you guys find it helpful. I had the chance to meet with what we call him, Mr. X, Joe Stronczyk, a couple times over the past few months, and I've been trying to learn more and more about the internet. I've been a student for a couple of years here, and it's difficult stuff to learn because number one, there's a lot to learn, and number two, it changes almost hourly. And one of the things that I had tried to learn in the past was understanding Google rankings, for the simple reason that everybody wants to be number 1 on Google, no matter what business you're in. And there's been an ongoing change in how that's done. If you think about back when email first started, there was no rules about spamming, and everybody was blasting out everything you could possibly think of was coming over the internet. Now there's checks and balances and that sort of thing. And I think that's a little bit of what's happened with the Google rankings from the understanding that I've got from Joe. And so I talked to Joe a couple times on the phone, and my thick Irish head, I just couldn't get it. He couldn't get it through my head. It's not his fault, it's my fault. And then we had a chance to sit down out at Santa Barbara at Dave Meldy's event and really explain it to me and get out the computer, and I started to get little pieces of it. And I think we've had a couple hours of discussion since that time. And as I understood it, as I got more educated on this, I started realizing this is something that all you guys need to understand. Everybody that's in business needs to understand this thing. Now, in full disclosure, Joe does have a company that helps people with rankings and reviews. He's only done it, he's doing it for other businesses. He runs a martial arts school in, where is it, Cleveland?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So he understands martial arts. He's thinking about doing this for martial arts. He's not 100% committed, and this definitely is not a sales pitch. But I wanted you guys to know that at the end of this, if you want to talk to Joe about what he can do, then that's fine. But in the meantime, we're going to get a great education here on how this works. So Joe, let's take this through these slides, and hopefully you can get me even more educated, and that'll help some of our readers.
Okay.
Fire away.
Well, I want to just kind of start off with a little of the history, and then we can understand what's going on. But there's a huge dramatic shift in what's happening, obviously online, and me and Mr. Reed before this conference were talking about more like giving value back and understanding that there's a lot of power in the people's hands. And when I say that, I mean no longer can you get bad customer service and nothing's being done. I mean, if you choose to run a business and you want to treat people badly, obviously they have the power to go online and go all over the place and give you bad reviews, and also get their friends to help give bad reviews. And so the industry's changed in terms of marketing online. I'm just segmenting the whole idea that, the old school thinking was let's just, hire an SEO company to give us, get us on the first page of Google or the first spot. And in the last 12 months, we find that it's not helping. What's helping is reputation management and marketing, 5-star reviews, and social aspects of internet. But before I go in there, let me just kind of break through a couple of things. So, there's me doing school talks, and there's me with my daughter in my school here. So, a martial arts school like everyone else on this call today. But my first hit was when I moved to our location. We weren't even opened yet, and we got these bad reviews on Yahoo and Google, and we were blown away because I'm like, how could we get reviews? We're not even open. We had our sign and construction was going on, and then we started getting these reviews about, we teach a watered-down martial arts and a bunch of other crazy stuff, things about contracts, and that was many years ago. You're trying to call Yahoo saying we're not even open for business. Who's putting these things online? And obviously it was a competing school. You know, sometimes when you open up a school in another
Sure.
town and there's multiple locations, you know, they weren't happy with that, so they were, you know, kind of attacking us. So it led us to understand reviews and start developing proprietary systems and processes to help, you know, business not get bullied online. And I guess the good point of that is when we started using those systems, within 2 years, the school that was really bullying us with negative reviews, obviously they went out of business. So karmically speaking, you know, it was a, you know, kind of a interesting
It's a
thing.
good one.
It was a good one. Yeah, that's, you know, there's enough room for people.
Sure.
I want to talk about reviews, just so we understand. Reviews dominate the internet. We all shop on Amazon. I'm sure everybody on the phone is familiar with Yelp. If we ever bought a car, maybe we've chosen to use like Kelley Blue Book and looked at reviews. And reviews have been around for a while, but insanely popular. And I always usually ask people if you had a child and they had a major surgery coming up, would you kind of wing it and choose any doctor, or would you actually go online and find the right doctor and that performs the best surgery for your child? And I think most of these days would ask for a referral to a surgeon, you know, if it was for your child. So, you know, we really do value, you know, reviews and referrals. And the two things I'm going to talk about, I think they do go hand in hand. I think most businesses would agree that a referral that comes from a friend is easier to sell or get enrolled into your program. You know, referrals are, I think, the best way to do business. And Mr. Reed, we've seen that in Santa Barbara where Melody and Dave they're like referral based, and that was insane, the numbers they're doing off their referrals. And obviously that they understand.
They're like at 75 to 76% of all their new business is referrals.
Yeah, and you could tell just by their service and their commitment to them, to their staff. So what I'm going to do is when we talk about what people do online, you know, studies show that over 80% of people first go online to find out and check your reputation. And some of us don't want to think they do this, but I can tell you countless stories of my own students coming in, females coming in for kickboxing or kids, where they say, I actually did Google you to make sure you guys were legit or who you guys were, and they usually did that before an appointment. And so what's good for some schools is to see what's going on. When we do when we look at schools, there's two factors that I think are the real big ones. So I want to forget everything about like SEO, pay-per-click, you could say blogging, because we're going to show you that most of that stuff doesn't work these days due to reputation and what Google and Yahoo and Bing are factoring in for rankings. But the two factors we're looking for is if you have bad reviews or no reviews, and that would be like this column that says your score. I just pulled up three classics, one in Texas, one in Colorado, and one in California. So this school has 9 bad reviews, and then they have a listing score of 40%. Now, a listing score would be how they're being listed on Bing, Yelp, Merchant Circle, Insider Pages, City Search. Okay, so 40% would be obviously an F. If we look at this person in Colorado, they have no reviews anywhere, but they have a listing score of an F. And these are the two factors we're really going to hope you guys understand in terms of internet marketing. And then obviously the last one being in California, which is 5 bad reviews floating around there, and then 30%. A martial arts school should have you know, lots of good reviews out there, and their listing score should be an A. When we say an A, that means 90% or higher. And what these low numbers mean is they didn't take the time to go to all the aggregated sites like Merchant Circle and making sure that their name, address, and phone number were correct and listed and claimed, which is ridiculous. And you are running a business, and Google looks at this as a major factor in how they're going to put you on the you know, listings. Okay, does that kind of make sense, Mr. Reed?
Yeah, if I wanted to get this report, how would I do that for my school?
Well, you know, this is our own software we use. But
that's your old stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
and if anybody wanted it, I mean, it's free. Just let me know. I'll punch in your phone number and let us run it, and we'll just email you a copy of it.
All right,
and
cool.
you could kind of look at it and see what you need to do. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Yeah, and really what we talked about on this is you're going to show people how to do this. I mean, it's not a secret. They can do it if they want to. The challenge usually is expertise and time. But
yeah.
So we'll go through that as we go on here.
Okay. Obviously, we know that the top martial arts schools get more than 50% of all business, and we used to think that if you're in the A spot or B spot, even of your Google, your Google Plus or your local here, that you were getting most of the calls. But we're going to show you that the reputation is really what's crushing it for people, and we'll go into that. I'm going to kick to the website so we understand what people do when we look at. Let me just pull up I'll make sure it comes up for everybody here.
Yeah, I'm seeing the Google pages.
Okay, good, good.
Okay.
I just, I'm familiar with a lot of, I pulled up one. This is in Carmichael, California. This is at Google right now, and what's happening here is if we just look in general, I'm looking for karate in Carmichael, California. What comes up is, we have Reed's Martial Arts and we have Kovar's. No. And we have Kovar's.
Yeah.
And at first glance, you're going to notice the star rating that Reed's has a nice 4.5 and Kovar's has a 2.5. Right. And it's not the matter of someone say, well, they're still going to call Kovar's. The fact is a 2.5 is telling somebody I'm going to at least keep looking. And I see Reed's again on City Search with more positive reviews. So not only does Reed's has positive reviews on Yelp, but they also did some reviews on City Search. So reputation-wise, maybe a better choice. But if I look at, I'm going to make sure this one loads up too. Somebody is also...
That's incredible because I know the Kovar's run an extraordinarily good program out there. So it's interesting that it's not transferring to their Google ranking.
And the fact is, I think we need to be aware that more and more people are trying to find the most reputable company to work with. And we look at Total Ryu. This is one of our clients, but I'm just going to show you the difference. Somebody's going to type in their name to make sure, like, I have an appointment on Friday. I'm going to type them in to see if they're really, I've seen the ads. I don't know if I believe the ads, but if you go on and we just look at, they have their regular organic listings and now under their Total Ryu Martial Arts, this is literally their organic listing right here, and they're 4.9, and then they have their organic listing right here. Even in the organics listing, Google is putting their reputation score in there, and that's something you just can't get away with. Now, they don't do it for every martial arts school, but we're going to see month after month as they start doing this, every school will soon have all their reviews, whether it's an organic listing or a blog, and you can see how Google snuck it in there. So,
can you give a quick explanation of what organic means?
Organic just means Google says that the name of your school is TotalRyu.com, and you're a martial arts school, and it's just that straight link right to your website. Versus, I'll show you, versus like a Google Places or a blog.
Okay.
So, and then, again, Fort Collins, so their reviews are showing up, but also on Yelp. City Search, they've done a wonderful job on, and local. I'm just kind of moving around so people can understand. If I go to, like if I'm in Texas, for example, if I go to Texas, I'm looking for a school, and I say, well, this is kind of your Google Plus local, where Google lists like A through G of who you should look for in terms of martial arts. I see a guy that has a 4.5 rating, and I'm thinking, wow, somebody took the time to give him some reviews. And I see a guy that has a 3.1 rating. Well, let's think about it. Would you call the 3.1, rating, or are you going to call the 4.9 rating first? Right. So we can go on and on, but it's not only Google. I mean, obviously, if you go to even a website, which is you type in martial arts in Arlington Heights, Illinois, Yahoo's doing the same thing. This is a client of ours, Elite Martial Arts, where literally on the first page under martial arts, I want to show you the power of reputation so everybody can get this really and understand this. So we have martial arts in Arlington Heights. I'm interested in martial arts. The first spot is U.S. Elite Martial Arts. They have 5-star reviews, so already number one. So guaranteed they're going to be the first school you're going to call. But let me go down, and you're going to see what's happening with these, with Yahoo and Google and Bing. You have Yellow Pages, which is a review site. You have their organic listings here. But as we start to go down, we're going to see more and more review sites. Here's Yellow Pages again. Here's local Yahoo, which is there, how they list you. Here we have Dex Knows, which is, again, somewhat of a review site. Here's Yellow Book, which is a review site. Here's Yelp, which is a review site. So it doesn't matter how much you blog. It doesn't matter how much you think you paid for a pay-per-click or you tried to do SEO. Yahoo gave our client, they gave them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots on page 1 of Yahoo, and most of those being the review sites, Yellow Book, Yelp, Yellow Pages, right? Dex knows. So if we look at stuff like this, we're understanding the trend no longer is stuffing, the SEO and buying more backlinks. That's not what it is. What we're trying to get people in martial arts schools to understand is about offer a good service to your customers, get customers to post positive reviews about you. If you do that, Yahoo, Google, and Bing will like you. They're going to start giving you these listings, and your business is going to grow.
Right. One of the questions that I'm sure people are going to wonder right now is, okay, how do I get the reviews and how do I get them up there? You're going to address that, I think, later or somewhere along the line.
Yeah, we can break that down. And even if, if we start going into, I'm going to jump around a little bit just so people can understand what's happening, even on review sites. If we look at martial arts and Arlington Heights, and this page is loading up, a place like City Search for martial arts school, you have to take the top 2, or 3 spots. I'm just using Elite Martial Arts because that's our client. I can show their sites. But even when I look at theirs, people need to understand that even City Search, he has 40 reviews, and that page is loading. He has 40 positive reviews. But when you look at the reviews, they are pulling them up from not only their reviews, they're using around the web, and I hope this loads up okay for everybody. But even on City Search, they're pulling reviews from Judy's book, Insider Pages, more Judy's book, here's some more Insider Pages. So what
you're saying is they need to be on a lot of
different review sites.
Different review sites,
yeah.
Not just one, and hopefully that does everything.
Okay. The idea is a really quick call from a school in Georgia that we worked with. They thought, Google, like if we get all these reviews on Google, business grows. Well, that brings us into our slides so people understand. And Mr. Reed, you're the one that kind of helped me with this, so everybody can understand the what's happening with the. Let me just go back here and give me one moment so I can load this slide up. These are what's coming up is the overall factors to be number 1 in search engines. And even though there's a lot of maybe jargon in here that's not really important, we can really make it simple. Like we put number 1 and number 2. Number 1 is we assume you have a website that's already optimized. You're talking about your school and your programs, and that's all good. And you have some backlinks already coming from that. But the second factor is reviews. Now the review, it's quantity, velocity, and diversity. And we put that simply, and really the name of the game is more registrations or citations, which is where you put your business name, address, and phone number on all those review sites, but a better reputation. You got to get reviews posted on those review sites consistently, every month, and that's going to give you better ranking. So I hope I'm kind of clear.
Yeah, and then to clarify this registration citations, that's basically meaning as opposed to being on 1 or 2 or 3 review sites, you're on 50, 60, 70, 100, and every time you register, you get your registration is called a citation.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. I'm getting smarter.
Yes, sir.
It took you an hour and a half to explain get me to understand what a citation is, so if we can get it through my thick skull. So the idea first, number 1, is to get on as many sites as possible. Then the things that they're saying on those sites need to be positive.
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
And we look at, page 1 rankings, all the factors that take up, the first page of Google or Yahoo or Bing. Is we talked about your organic listing, was your website listing, which could be anywhere from page 1 to 20, and you have your Google Plus, your places where they give you that A, B, or C spot. Obviously, videos are really hot right now, whether you rank YouTube videos or MetaCafe videos. But then we're dealing with review sites like Yelp, Merchant Circle, and Kudzu, and then you have your pay-per-click. But those are the kind of the primary dominating, spots that are taking up the internet right now.
Okay. So if you're going to do this yourself, you're going to want to be involved in all those things and work in the system.
Hmm. So no longer we can really think, well, look, I'm number one, I have one spot, when right now people are so conditioned with looking for reviews. If I'm going to go in and spend, $200 a month for karate, I think I'm going to do a little research, or just make sure that I'm showing up to a legitimate place. So that's what we're talking about. When we say 9 spots on page 1, we're not doing that through SEO or backlinking or stuffing anything. It's just, if you do it right and you get reviews and you make sure those reviews are put out on the right review websites consistently every month, you know what you're doing, then
Right.
Google likes you, and they're going to give you those spots.
Well, I think you hit on it there when you said doing it right. That's one of the things that was kind of eye-opening to me. I know we're going to explain the differences here. I don't know which slide it is, but that was very insightful. I think it's human nature to always try to do something quick and easy,
Mm-hmm.
and this is not a quick and easy system, no matter what anybody tells you.
It is.
It
It
takes
is.
work,
It is not quick and easy.
it takes time.
It's
Okay?
a martial arts school that comes in and thinks we're going to do this in a month is foolish. Building a reputation and doing it you're working at it culturally. It has to be embedded into your school. So how we greet people, how we do, like, no longer can we do intros where we're trying to cash out people on the first night, and like some of those things that you just, depending on your business is. But if we look at the reviews that are coming back from martial arts schools, we're getting hit with bad reviews about contracts, pushy salesmen,
Right. The guys from the old days.
yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Okay,
What do we got next?
I'm going to pass up some of these. So I just want to show you that the
Yeah.
online is, you got to master your reputation, not management. And management is an interesting word. For years we talked about reputation management. Management is defensive, and we're martial artists, so we like to also have an offense and a defense. So we talk about reputation marketing. That's very proactive. That means we're engaging our customers. We know how to get reviews from customers. We know where to put those reviews. We're going to, talk really wonderful to our staff. All of it matters, right? So just really want to point out
Right.
that it's the marketing aspect, not management.
Right. Well, I think it's so important for school owners to get started on this, because like you said, it takes time. We've got to build, like any reputation. You don't build your reputation in 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
It comes over time, and it's time to get to work on this stuff so that the good schools are the ones that are dominating those pages and showing our programs to people that I want them to have the best opportunity on it. So that's kind of the purpose of explaining this to folks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
You've got an interesting way of how you handle this, which I'm excited to show these people.
Okay.
So,
So when we talk about reputation marketing, if we can really sink in and understand it, if you really work on reputation marketing, that means inside your school things are much better, right? We're treating people wonderful. They like the school, and we put that knowledge online, so to say, with those positive reviews. The 3 big things, the eye openers are, it ranks your organic listings higher in the search engines, it puts you higher in the Google Plus and Places listings, and it gives you pre-qualified leads. You are the most trusted martial arts school in your town if obviously you have a 5-star reputation. When I say easier enrollments, our clients, when people come in, they use their tablets now. When somebody comes in filling out the paperwork, they say, here's our reviews, and they usually have a page with I'll show you what it looks like. It's very powerful when you see reviews, not just from Google, but you see reviews from Judy's Book, Kazoo, Local, Yellow Pages, and that tells the customer, like, wow, that's a lot of reviews coming in.
yeah.
Like, I think we talked about this too. The olden days, we just used to like maybe put a video up of a mom talking about the school and how much they love the school. But sometimes they would say, well, is that student still here? And well, you shot that video like 5 years ago, right? And no, the kid's not here. They quit, right? So people do want to see current, up-to-date reviews and know that you're.
Right. So what we're saying here is it's important to run a good business so that people talk well about your business
You got it.
on these review sites, of which we have registrations or /citations.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going anywhere if we don't do step 1.
You got it, sir. You got it. So we already looked at that, and we'll talk about calls a little bit later. When we talk about it, I think most martial arts schools really don't understand what reputation is. I'm glad we're having this to kind of open some eyes a little bit to really understand it. And when we talk about reputations, we all have bad days at our school. If it's not you, maybe it's just for whatever reason, and we're only one customer away from a bad reputation. And we talked about before, I don't really need to hash it out, but when we look at the reputation of what happens to martial arts schools, usually people will complain, $99 is too much money, or the instructor refused to give me class times over the phone. I mean, these are real reviews, or they were treated like a used car dealer pushing a contract on me, and so some of them you're not, you can't do anything about. They might. I'll show you some strategies to kind of make sure that we don't see these things out online, and there's some real ways to do that. So if we can kind of sum up reputation, I really do. If we look at reviews, they really are in every type of online. They show up everywhere: maps, pay-per-click, website, organic, and local directories. You can't get away from them. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that.
The takeaway is it's very important that we run a good business so that we get the reviews. Now, what we do with the reviews, that's going to designate our Google ranking.
That's right.
And if we don't have the good reviews to start with, we're going to have a real challenge.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yep.
Okay. So let's go into when you understand about buyers. This is just from this is from Bright Local, Miles Anderson. 72% of buyers trust reviews just as much as personal recommendations. So when we first started talking, we talked about referrals from your customers, and what's fascinating when we look at marketing, the top two that we're looking at, and this is from Nielsen, if everybody's ever heard of Nielsen, if we look at the top two, if you're going to run a martial arts school, I would love to have somebody refer somebody because it's an easier enrollment. The second thing we looked on here is a consumer's opinion posted online. People trust that 70%. If we look more at this, we look at like text ads or ads on TV, emails I signed up, a branded website, or even a newspaper article. If you think about it, if somebody even does an interview me and puts me in the newspaper saying that I'm the best, martial arts school in town, that's only at 58%. 70% of people trust online reviews. It's just like a personal recommendation, which is very powerful. So, in terms of advertising, you really got to put that in your head. Like, my reputation is the most important thing I can do right now for advertising.
Long-term sustainability.
You got it.
Also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep. I know when we travel, my girlfriend's always on that TripAdvisor and checking out the hotels and what they have to say. And they're not all good, but you can kind of see if you got 30 good reviews and one bad one, you probably got a good hotel.
Yes, sir. You got it. And then obviously stuff we didn't have to worry about, 12 months ago, but now you have to worry about all of it. Bing, Merchant Circle, all the sites. It can be really overwhelming, obviously, to manage it and think about it.
Say there's a couple hundred different ones out there.
Yeah, Yext it does about 40, but honestly speaking, for us, you got to be at about 100 plus. We do 140, but 100 plus really puts you in the ball game to be okay for, to be the top school.
Right. One of the things. Well, we'll get to the Black Hat stuff. I'll talk about that.
Okay.
So basically, we've got a lot of these things. Step one, we ran a good school. Step two, we have people who want to give us good reviews. Then we have to get them onto all these sites.
That's correct. And there's a lot of logistics. I mean, to ask a mom to say, I need you to go register on 47 different sites and post reviews, they don't do it. Obviously, you're asking a lot for a mom to do. But I'm going to show you some strategies, and you can understand how to do it and make it easier for you. But when we talk about sites, city search and insider pages, you want to be that top spot on those sites too. Yellowbot, top site spot, Hot Frog. It's very important that's you're really working that. I just want to show you the shot. This is just a shot of one of our clients, but on their website, it's very important to have those reviews on your website. If we look at the screenshot here, and you go to their website and you look at reviews, we don't have reviews of just made up text ones. You can see the Yelp and the Google and the Judy's Book and the City Search and Yellow Pages. They all populate right on this website. So every time a new review comes in,
this is just incredibly important. I recommend what is the URL for this site?
Well, can we talk about that a little bit, because I have permission from, they're pretty much, the other school, they don't care, but this school they are the #1 in their town, and they don't want to,
Well,
the other school, sure.
On the scroll bar on top, there's a button there that says reviews, and you don't see that on most martial arts sites. And if I was looking for a martial arts school and I saw that review button, I'd actually, personally, if it was my website, I'd have the review button would be as big as I could possibly put it on there.
Yes,
Because this is very powerful when you click on that, and they're relatively new, updated reviews, all 5-star rating. That's a real endorsement of your
yeah,
business.
and parents are wise. I mean, they know you can't, spam the system with that many reviews on different review sites, so yeah.
Right. So that's a very powerful tool right there. Okay.
So let's talk about reputation strategy. There's six steps to a reputation strategy. We'll try to explain some of them, and you could take notes and start, really literally start on this today. But the first one is you want to claim your listings. We call those citations on as many of the key websites as you can: Yelp, Yahoo Local, Kazoo, and there's a service out there called Yext. They do about 40, but there's challenges with that. Obviously, when you sign up for a service like that, when you choose not to continue that service, all that optimization's gone. They kind of pull the plug. And so what we do, though, is we do over one. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. All I would say once again, I'm trying to learn about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is I went to Google and I put in the word Yext and I put in reviews and I looked at their reviews of their company,
Mm-hmm.
and I just suggest other people do the same
Mm-hmm.
thing you're doing, and you'll get plenty of information on
Yes, sir.
there. So,
Mm-hmm. And make sure
so
that
these citations again are registrations. We're trying
Yes, sir.
to get on as many as we can.
Mm-hmm.
That's important.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that
Power.
Yeah, and they're filled with everything. You want to make sure you have keyword density, blogs, optimized pictures, optimized videos. They allow you to do that, so take advantage of it. You want to be that top spot ranking for the review sites.
Right.
Okay. You've seen Mr. Reed, you've seen our review portal site, so I think we can kind of just show it maybe, and then they can understand what that is. Is that okay? We kind of.
Yeah, I think I can explain it pretty quick.
Okay.
Here. I don't want to keep them on too long. If you just show the site, there's two ways to do this. When I was talking with Joe, and I really found this very interesting. And once again, there's an old saying that any technology sufficiently ahead of its time will appear as magic, and some of this stuff is kind of magic to me. It's so far out of my league, but one of the concerns we've had with if you are going to ask for reviews, one of the challenges we have is what happens if you have a disgruntled parent or a competitor that wants to try to post a review that isn't one that you would want to post. So what Joe did was built, I think, stop me anytime I'm wrong here though, you built like a mini website that's a gateway where they go and gather the reviews there, and then if it's a bad review, they respond to that customer in a positive way to try to mend the fences. If it's a positive review, they move it into one of those 100 sites and drizzle them in properly so they don't get bit. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you said it probably more eloquently, right, and simple, so people. Yeah, beautiful. So
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
what a review site is, we never.
The challenge is going to be is building a site like this.
Yeah, and then never, ever, we never have anybody go online to give us reviews. We never tell them to go to Google or Yahoo, because the truth is people quit every month. You just don't know who's quitting, and you don't want those reviews. So we always have postcards or email campaigns or newsletters always telling them where they should post a review. And we make it real easy. Like when you post a review into this site right here, it's super easy. Parents love doing it because it takes 2 seconds. And a couple things happen. Obviously, you just said if they put in their name, email address, and they agree to some terms and conditions, which allows us to post their review online for them. If they give you a 5-star review, then obviously what ends up happening, a wonderful video comes up about, thank you for the review. And if a negative review comes up, what ends up happening is, I'll show you really quick. If a negative review comes up, a video pops up saying, we apologize about not having a first-class experience. If you could touch base with us to see if we can make it right, we'd appreciate that. So that would be if they left a negative review. And it's sincere and it's honest, right? It's simple enough.
Sure.
And if it's a positive,
does that automatically?
Yeah, it does it automatically. And then if it's a positive review, if I just put 5 stars and they accept the terms and conditions, what ends up happening is a separate video comes up which thanks them for the positive review, and that's how we grow a business. And we love doing growing and everything else. And then what ends up happening then is a separate video which sends them to their let me close this up, sends them to their Google or Yelp to leave that same positive review. So I think that makes sense.
Once again, I want to know how you got Johnny Knoxville to do
Yeah.
videos for you. So can't hurt. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if that's good. They say I got the guy from Jackass doing,
Yeah,
doing
doing it.
reviews for my school. So, no, you look fine on there. All right. Okay.
So,
So this is what it would take to build one of these sites.
yeah, it gets pretty expensive. And obviously you said you want to make sure you pull those reviews and get them up on your website and some other. Monitoring is a whole other nightmare. Monitoring means you could try Google Alerts, but the problem with reputation is often when they post a review, they're into these sites like Yelp and City Search, where they're not typing your name specifically. They're talking about how, Dan sold me on a contract, or Master Billy sold me at this, and so they're not using your school name, so Google Alerts don't work. So you have to obviously figure out a system that kind of goes out there and, helps you get those reviews.
And really, that's, I mean, the reason to have all these positive reviews and to have them on these sites, number one, from a proactive standpoint, when people are looking for martial arts, they're going to get overwhelmed with positive reviews. Mm-hmm. That's important, I think, but just as important, it's also a defensive strategy for someone coming in. If you've got 25 great reviews and somebody puts in a negative review, they bypass the portal and just go to the place itself, then at least you have some defense. But if there's only 2 reviews, one's good and one's bad, you're batting 50%.
You got it, sir.
So I think that's so important for everybody to get one way or another to get started on loading those registration sites, however you decide to do it. Because if you're not going to do it, I guarantee you somebody else is going to be doing it. And the farther you get ahead on this, the more jump you get on it, the more important it's going to be for you, your school, and your business.
Yeah. You just nailed it. You're unstoppable if you have, a couple hundred positive reviews floating around on all these review sites. 1 or 2 bad reviews is not going to do anything. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt your reputation at all. Yes, sir. Right. We talked about, how much it costs to kind of do this kind of things, but, that portal site, you decided it filters reviews, the good from the bad. It posts the reviews to defend against any bad reviews. We kind of covered that. There's lots of ways to get reviews. Some are illegal and some are legal. I know you kind of maybe want to talk about black hat stuff, but
yeah, I think that's incredibly important. And I had heard about that, but I didn't really understand it. And for the readers out here, I think basically what it comes down to, if I'm once again, correct me, Joe, you can try to appear that you're doing something that's normal, i.e. getting 100 reviews a month for your school. The Google algorithm, I can't even say it, much less understand it, they have all their nerds up in their building there that are building these algorithms to catch you doing that kind of stuff, trying to game the system or beat the system. And if you play around with these guys enough, they'll knock you right off of Google and you won't get back on.
Yes.
And I think you mention like an average New York restaurant gets how many reviews? A good New York restaurant?
Oh, a good anywhere from 10 to 15 reviews. I mean, they're not getting 100 reviews. Yeah, a month.
Yeah. So if your school's in Dubuque, Iowa, and you start slamming 50 or 100 a month for 3 months,
something's going on. Yeah, something's going on.
Or more importantly, if somebody tells you they're going to do that for you, and they're going to charge you money, and they go out and start slamming or spamming or whatever you call it, man, it's just, I've heard nightmares of people with very lucrative online businesses get knocked right off and get shut down because they're playing games. But like anything else, there was a time in email where you could game the system. There was a time when you could game the Google rankings. Well, they got more money, more smarts, more time than most of us do. And if you there's still people out there that'll tell you they can do it.
Yeah.
You can get yourself in trouble. So there's some real challenges on that out there, and I want people to be aware of what they're doing and what this investment should be time-wise to do this, and if they're going to pay somebody to do it, what's a fair rate to do, and what they should expect if they do pay somebody to do this.
Yes.
Whether it's you or whether it's anybody else. I know there's if you punch this in, there's lots of websites doing it or claiming to do it.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if they understand the martial arts as well as you do.
Yes, sir.
But so I think it's real important that, number one, people understand how important this is today, and I think it's going to get even more important as time goes on. Even if, we've got our little Karate America school in a small town outside of Madison, my girlfriend's school. If somebody says my kid goes to Karate America and they decide they want to go, they may Google it just to find the phone number, and bang, they're either going to see a bunch of 5-star reviews or a bunch of negative reports, and it's getting more and more and more. And I mean, it's not even online. Christ, it's on your phone. You can be walking down the street in Paris and take a picture of a restaurant.
You got it.
And you pull the reviews up. So the power is now in the consumer's hands.
You got it.
And we have to get prepared to deal with these people in a fair and equitable and honest way. And once we do, I see this as making the good guys better and knocking the bad guys out of the saddle.
Yes.
I really see that happen. I'm excited about that. I think it's a good thing.
I will mention, too, with that review portal, I mean, we do post your reviews to those sites, and we do it legally and ethically, and that's a huge thing. I mean, you're not going to ask a mom or student to write that review and post it on 10 different sites. We do collect their IP address. They do sign the agreement, and they're giving you permission to post a review online. Everything is tracked back. If, for example, the Attorney General knocks on your door, which they've been knocking, we were talking earlier before this, Mr. Reed, about the Attorney General going after local businesses about stuffing reviews. But if they were ever to come knocking at your door, it's like everything's already systemized for you. You have IP addresses, you have names and addresses, you have the reviews, so everything is legal. And that's what we do, So you could take that portal site, send all your students in there. They just start filling up positive reviews. We track the IP address. We know how to post those reviews for them. We know how to get past the filters and post them for you. But they're real reviews from your customers. We don't make up reviews. It's all legal. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. So that's
why I have you on here, Joe, because you're doing things right.
Yes.
That's what Dojo Digest is trying to find the guys that are doing things that I believe are honest and fair and good for the owners and good for the students. So
the big takeaway is, you said it, more positive reviews on multiple review sites and more optimized citations, and you're going to see your rankings increase, you're going to see your business increase, and I can't say this enough, I think it's important for whatever martial arts school to be the #1 most trusted martial arts school in that town, and you do that through the positive reviews and the citations.
Right. Okay, so we're 14 minutes over. I want to do this thing in 30 minutes, but I think it's important that we really make sure everybody understands this. Now, you offer a service. Why don't you tell these people what you're doing and what you're charging for it, because that's what they're going to want to know, and I think that's fair that after you sharing this information, you share that with them.
When we talk about when we're in Santa Barbara with Mr. Reed and others, our company really primarily deals with, we do work with martial arts schools. I showed you some martial arts schools today that are, I would say, crushing it online because their reputation is great. I showed you that our clients are on the top spots of City Search, the #1 spot, Insider Page #1 spot, Yellowbot #1, Hot Frog #1, with all positive reviews, and that's why they're #1 on Yahoo, and they take 9 spots on Google because they've done it right. And they're not in a hurry. I can't say this enough. For Arlington, Arlington knows, man. He's been working his reputation for, this is like his 18th month, and and slowly he's like, man, he's like unstoppable in his town. So it's not an overnight thing. You gotta culturally put it into your business, and this is the right thing to do. So his school's growing, and it's a wonderful thing. But we talked about Black Hat, so.
Let's go back to that Black Hat just to double check that we hit everything on. I think that's real important.
It has to be a review from your direct customer. They have to give you permission to post that review along with their name, and that's why when they put it into our portal site, they're giving us permission with a real name, a real review, and their IP address.
Right. Cool. Okay, I think we hit most of that.
So, Mr. Reed, you were kind of helping me. You know what we charge because we work with hair salons and dentists and stuff, and you were kind of
Well,
helping me with
here's
it.
what I'll tell people. I know, that the conversations we've had, you're not even sure that you're going to stay in the martial arts niche of doing this.
That's correct.
And I understand why. There's a lot of money to be made in higher income industries. It's my understanding that you're going to try this with some schools, and if you like it, you're going to stay with it. If not, you're going to move on to the other niches that you're already successful in.
Yes, sir.
So hit them with the dough, man.
Okay. So, Mr. Reed, we're talking about in what we cater to is dentists and high-end hair salons, and they put $749 down, and chiropractors, and $397 a month. But Mr. Reed, what we'd like to do is do I guess you say a test. Mr. Reed's school also came on board, so they started last week. I just wanted to throw it out there if that's okay, Mr. Reed. That
Sure.
Okay. And so what we decided for 20 schools in Dojo Digest was to do cut that to $349 down, which is the setting up of your portal site. We are going to go and get you those citations on up to 140 directories. That's everything's optimized with videos, pictures, and everything for you. And now those are yours to keep, even if you don't
That's just
continue.
what I want to make sure you make these people understand. Some of these businesses will go in and put those citations or registrations for you. If you leave that company, they take those all away, and you're right back at square one.
Mm-hmm.
This, if you go in and you have Joe set the whole thing up, and for some reason you decide you don't want to stay with them, you've got them.
They're yours forever.
Yeah, that's very, very important. And as far as pricing on this thing, Joe, I know what it costs you to do this thing,
Mm-hmm.
to do it right, and you're not making any money on this. I know you're not. So you're going to try this for some people that want to do it, and then from there the price will go up to to what a fair market value is for what you're going to do. So if anybody's thinking about doing this, now would be a great time to jump on board with Joe. I don't make any money off of this. I'm not doing anything for a commission. I just honestly believe in what he's doing, and recommend him highly. He's a good man. So okay, cool.
Questions, or you wouldn't do with that or anything,
Yeah,
sir?
if anybody has any questions, I think you can hit that box on the side there, can't you? If anybody has any questions, they can shoot them out. Or Joe, do you have your email address, or can they email her right there?
That Real Martial Arts Marketing, they could go to that site and poke around.
Cool. Cool, man.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
hey, I hope now
I
we've
had
got
some
this
questions.
recorded. We'll get this into. Oh,
There's a
yes,
question. I think
okay.
Brennan believes I'm going down. I'm trying to open this up. I'm sorry. Everybody,
Okay.
apologize. Me and Mr. Reed were trying to work out systems. We just started up with this GoToWebinar once. So I'm
We're
opening
new
up.
with the go-to-meeting thing.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah. What professor want?
Yeah, obviously the professor, he was asking, I currently use Yext. Can you still, yeah, of course. There are many schools that have used Yext. The challenge with Yext is what happens is you just, if I can answer this out loud, is we go in there, they only probably claim 40 or so with you, and we're going to go after 140 or find out the ones that you're not listed on and give you that listing, and then we go claim them. But I would definitely, you know what, as Mr. Reed said before, just type in Yext and the word review after it and make your own decision. But I'm always an advocate of, if you have those directories, they should be yours. They're your passwords. You optimize them with your videos, your pictures, and you should have the control, and not when you cut a service, they cut you off too. So,
because then you're hooked. I mean, and as important as this is, man, if they've got you and they're basically holding your reputation in their hand,
you got it.
and if you don't pay them the money, you're gonna be right back to square one. So that's something that I didn't understand that at all. And on paper, it looks fine, like a lot of these things do, and I don't understand them. And you get into deals that look good and make promises, and then all of a sudden you find out, man, I'm in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we back in the day, I don't think. Well, there's still probably some people doing it, but they would make you a website, but then they would hold the hosting themselves, and next thing you know, you didn't have control of your website or any of that sort of thing. And I've seen that happen in the past.
Yes, sir.
We had it happen over in Milwaukee. It was terrible for Jeff Burke over there. So, these things, once again, we try to do at Dojo Digest. I try to vet these guys like Joe vet means to look into the reputation and how they do so. It's my new word of the month, and try to bring information and services to readers that I think is very beneficial for their schools. And I'm telling you, any way you cut it, for $350 to try to put all this thing together, and for $100 a month to run it, there's just no way you can come close to doing that. And one way or another, this needs to be done, so people can kind of choose how they want. So what's our next question, sir?
I'm just going to go down the list really quick. Is the service available for Canadian schools? Obviously, yes, we do. I have 2 martial arts schools in Canada. They're doing wonderful. I mean, they're same thing. Reviews and citations get you rankings, and so yes, that works.
Cool.
The other question we had is some bad reviews that people are getting. It's okay. We can fix those. Yelp. I'm just kind of going through a bunch of these. Locations, everything is per location. So if you have 2 locations, that would be 2 separate fees. Google doesn't look at, Google factors in city, like your city, state, and zip. And so reviews in one city, that's school, and then reviews in another city.
What if you had 2 schools in the same city? Then how would that work?
We're assuming if you have 2 schools in the same city, that's 2 separate listings, 2 different phone numbers. Google looks at things based off of name, address, and phone number. So if you have the same name, address, and phone number, then you're not 2 locations. But if you're 2 locations, you have a different address, a different phone number, which means they give you a different listing. So they are 2 separate things. One of our clients has 6 locations, and they have 2, but it is separate, and if that makes sense. Yeah. So reviews.
Well, I've got my phone's blowing up right now with people wanting to sign up, so I'm sending them back to you. So
okay, and it says reviews are not the only factor. They're not the only factor, but if you look at Google and Yahoo and just watch, I just pulled up sites when I typed in martial arts in Arlington that on Yahoo they gave 7 spots to review sites. And so there are some schools that used to blog the heck out of the system and try to get blogs on page 1, and Google and Yahoo don't like that anymore. Blogs do count. They help with relevancy and some other factors, but they are favoring reviews. Reviews. They want to know that you are a reputable company, and the most reputable company is the one that they're going to give the likings to. Yep. So there's another one. Not sure, when a parent posts a review in your portal, how do you determine which directory you will send that review to? For example, Yelp, Google, City Search, etc. When they post into our portal, which is wonderful, you get an email right away, whether it's a good or a bad one, because if it's a bad one, you want to know that day that a parent is mad about something, and you can solve that relatively quickly. And if it's a good one, you also want to know that right away, so you can also thank that parent to say, thank you for posting a review about us. And then we just have our own, we understand that you can't stuff the system. So we rotate ours in a way that we know Google favors City Search and Google. So when we say how we do it, that's kind of...
That's a little preparatory.
That's correct. But again, offline, I could show you other...
But one thing they need to know is not only can't you not game the system, you can get in trouble trying to do it. It's not just the fact that it didn't work.
That's correct.
It's the fact that it can work against you. It's a double whammy.
People are going to ask difference between what you are doing and Yext outside of your own site to get reviews. What is the average of sites and stuff? I will say Yext, basically Yext services, we are just going to claim a citation for you, put a video or a picture on there, and that's all they do. They cannot post reviews for you. They have no review strategy. They have no reputation strategy. So big difference between just using Yext and using something that our goal is to give you something that a parent likes to do. Like, I can't say this enough. If you ask, I tell every school, it's easy to get reviews maybe for the first month, but try it 6 months in a row and you keep asking the same people to post reviews. They're busy, they have jobs and everything else, and you've already asked that mom 10 times to post a review. It's much easier to say, when you get home, can you go to this site and just type it in and hit enter? You don't have to set up what do we say? You don't have to set up a membership. You don't have to go.
Now, you said with your school, you're using postcards, and you've got kind of a little system for getting people to do that, right?
Yes, sir. We have.
Can you share that with the people if they sign up with you?
The goal is the easiest way. If you have an active count of, say, maybe 200 students, we just alphabeticalize it. So you go A, B's, and C's. This month we'll get a postcard. It's always best to greet them at the door. And then next month, C, D, and E. And then by the time you're done with your alphabet, so to say, you're putting in,
Right.
and that's just an easy system, so you're not hitting everybody for reviews because
Right.
you don't want that to
Right.
happen. It's just a nice, easy system.
Yep.
It's always in our newsletter and stuff. And
Cool.
makes it really easy.
Okay.
Google and Yelp check reviews here are valid and real based on location. They're going to ask fake reviews and slipping. These are not fake reviews. We have their IP address. Like the old days, when I say a year ago, people used to put a computer in their martial arts school and say, hey, can you go online and give me a review? It doesn't work. They know your IP address. We tell all our parents, please go home on your computer or on your tablet at home and type it in. Our portal site captures their IP address, captures all the other stuff about their computer, so we know it is really them. And they put in
Let me ask you this, Joe. If a parent is in the school and they have a tablet and they're connected to your Wi-Fi in your school, does that still show their IP or does it show the schools?
No, I'm always going to tell them, do it at home. Never have them do it. Yep, because you're on YP address. Now you get 50, 60 of them coming through yours. It's like, well, please go home. It takes you 2 minutes to do this portal site, and you don't have to sign up for anything. Just click the I accept the terms. And if a parent says, what am I agreeing to? It's simple. You're agreeing that we could take your review and post it online. Is that okay? And they're like, yeah, we like your school. It's no big deal. Yeah. Oh, are you getting a separate site that hosts your reviews, or is it on your current site? The question is, we send you a separate link and build you that portal site, and then that's just an extra little page.
And then you attach that to your website.
Yeah, just attach to their website. Okay. And then when it comes to, there's a question about social media. One of the most powerful things right now is social. And what I say that is, we all have Facebook accounts, maybe Twitter accounts, but when they put in that review and it gets posted on CitySearch, that review can automatically go to your Facebook or your Twitter account. So now you have maybe 5, 7 reviews that come to your Facebook account automatically. And just like you see in the website.
Oh, that's part of your service?
Yes, sir. And so
cool.
Now it's nice, 5 times, 6, depending what your review ratio is now they're on Facebook and people are talking about the wonderful things about your school, and so we can do that too. And that's an optional service because that takes a lot more due to putting it into your Facebook and your Twitter account. But the schools that are doing that, they're getting just another social aspect of it. So
right. Okay.
I think there's
but like you say, it all comes back to what we've been talking about for months. Running your business with integrity.
You got it.
And as I talked to you before we started here, the way Professor Beliso speaks about service. If you're running your business based on service to your people, you're gonna be able to get these reviews. If you're running it on trying to get in their checkbook, you're gonna have right. Well, once again, Joe, the purpose of this little webinar series is educational, and I think this has been a tremendous education for people. I hope that they understand more about this now, like I did. I've learned so much from you over the last month on this. I encourage them, however they do it, to start working on this today, because it's like like training for your black belt. You can't get your black belt in 30 days. If you do, it's probably not going to work very well.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time, it takes energy, and you need to do it the right way. And if they're planning 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years out in advance, you need to have this bucket full of registrations, and you need to have those registrations full of positive reviews. That's the power of building the name of your brand, number one, and number two, of building a fence to protect you against your competition. It's as simple as that. Now, the other thing, I don't know if you mentioned, I think you're only going to do this you're only taking one guy per town, right?
That's correct. Yes, one person per town.
So you don't want to bang them back and forth again. So who's ever in those other towns were the ones you showed.
Yes, sir.
If you're in one of those towns, don't call Joe.
Yeah,
somebody else.
Yes.
So, all right, is that it?
That's it, sir.
Okay, well, once again, I sure appreciate you taking your time, and folks, if you want to talk to Joe, send him an email. He'll be more than happy to send you an answer. And I've got about 5 people here on the phone that all need to talk to you, Joe, so I'm going to send them all your way.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
All right, man.
Thank you,
Take
sir.
care. Have a great day.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.